Live. Today we have Georgia Mansur here, who's a brand ambassador with Daniel Smith, and she was going to do her live last year, but there was a scheduling. So today we get to learn more about her. She has one of the most exciting and cheerful websites I've come across in a long time. Ethel will be sharing links, and her artwork is vibrant, colorful, exciting, and she's got a lot of different techniques that she uses. So excited to welcome you. Thank you for being with us, Georgia.
Thank you so much, Buffy. I'm really excited to be here. It's still dark outside. I guess it's 4 a.m. for me, so I've been up for an hour. But I have coffee, so life is good, and I'm excited to share with you all today.
And you're in Australia. Can you share what part of Australia you're in today?
So technically, it's Sydney, on the eastern coast of Sydney, or of Australia, but the actual village that I live in is called Palm Beach. So it's on the northernmost tip of Sydney that you can get to, and it's a peninsula in the shape of a whale's tail. So
Oh,
I live on the whale's tail.
that's wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
Ethel has prepared a slideshow of your work. If you could tell us just a little bit about that. And then afterwards, Georgia also has some paintings she's going to hold up and share a little bit about.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're going to do a slide share now, Georgia.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
So in case you have not followed Georgia, she's, of course, has an Instagram account. That's her handle there. Love the handle. Go, Georgia.
Thank you.
And then this is her artist page on Facebook. Do
Yes.
follow Georgia to be updated. And then, like how Buffy described it, Georgia has one of the most interesting website. We could navigate shortly after this slide or after the presentation. It's important or good to check out her website because she has her workshops scheduled there for if I'm not mistaken, for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this is just a snippet. We could do a quick glance of workshop page after the presentation. The next couple of images, Georgia, are your sample artworks, and we want to hear something about each of these artworks. We can start with this piece here.
Okay, this was a very familiar view to me because it was on our vineyard. This is our property, and our home was up on a hill. It looked out across the valley in Mudgee, which is about a 4-hour drive from where I now live. So that one was really a scene that I knew very well, and I just loved watching the clouds. That was my entertainment out there in the country. So yeah, we'll keep going. How do we keep going? Oh, there we go. This was a demo that I did on board the Queen Mary 2, the Cunard Cruise Line. For some of the guests, were in the Caribbean last year, and there were just this incredible storm that was coming across the sky, and I thought, oh, I don't know if I can capture that, but I'm going to have a red hot go. So I just started getting stuck into it really fast.
I just want to stop. I don't want this noise. Okay.
Okay. Next one.
Please be sure that you're on mute right now during the presentation, and then later when Georgia's painting, we can open it up for questions. Thank you.
This is I call this the Rolling Stones, Mick and the Lads. And it's basically an opportunity to show students how to use the pace and grounds from Daniel Smith. So I used quite a bit of watercolor ground and some other pace in this painting, and let it dry, and then painted over the top of it. So that's another option that we could talk about, and I could show you some more examples of that when I show you the pieces that I have here today. Go ahead. Keep going. Oh yeah, this was a crazy little guy. I painted this in France at one of my workshops. We used to go on walks around the village when when the day was done. And this day I happened to go early in the morning just to kind of clear my head. And this little guy was so determined to see me and get as close as he could. He was standing on the back of another goat. So I thought, well, I just have to capture him. He looks so cute.
Wow.
This one is a painting that I did of Strelitzia, or bird of paradise. I have these in my garden, but I did this as a gift for a friend when I was teaching over in Western Australia on the other side of the other coast from where I live. It's roughly the same distance between, say, the East Coast of the United States and the West Coast of the United States. So it's, the landmass in Australia is pretty much the same as the US, but there's more people in the Los Angeles basin than there is in our whole country. So it's
Wow.
quite different. But this was a gift that I gave to my host, and I just was walking around and seeing these beautiful flowers and thought, oh, I want to try and capture that. So that's what that one was about.
Beautiful.
This one was painted on location in France. This is Le Beau de Provence. And I have a very good friend that's a California girl as well, but has been living there for 45 years. And she always takes me to the best places to paint with my workshops because she's a local. You can go down these roads and the sign says, no entrance to everybody else except locals. And this is one of those roads. We got the best view of the castle ruins, and this is the orchard where Vincent van Gogh painted. So kind of cool that, we're able to get into some of these locations.
Beautiful.
Thank you. This is one of the vineyards in Mudgee, where I used to live for the 25 years. And in this particular painting, I don't know if you can see it, but the vines, this is an old vine vineyard. So I really wanted to capture how gnarly and textural they are. So I used the watercolor ground in this front row of canes, and it's hard to see it on this, but anyway, it's quite textural and very three-dimensional when you see it up close.
All right. I understand that Georgia has actual artworks to share as well. So this will be our last image on the slide.
Okay.
And, yeah, you ready with some of the real artworks in front of you? Okay.
Let's hit it.
Really quick on the chat box, everyone was really taken by your storm painting with the deep blues and purples. And
Oh, thank you.
you've also gotten a compliment on your cute glasses.
Oh, if I had $1 for how many people like my glasses, that's really funny. This is my favorite color, and even my car is this color, and my grandkids call it the frozen car. So I suppose, yeah, that has something to do with it. But here's a picture of the technique that I'm going to demonstrate today. These are roses, but we're not doing roses. I'm going to be doing a different floral, but there's some special techniques that I want to share with you. And I have used it in this picture, in this painting as well. So I just wanted to show you what's possible, if you can see that. And I'll just go through a few of my other pieces that you might find interesting, trying to get them where you can see the whole thing. Yeah, there we go. Don't be crabby. And this one too, I've got these heliconias in my garden, and so I love painting things that are complementary colors, but also quite vibrant and juicy. So that was a fun one. This was done in about 20 minutes on location at Roussillon in France. This last year I had a workshop in France, and I just wanted, this is the place where they harvest the ochre for painting pigment, and the cliffs there were just, the color of it was absolutely incredible. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, good chance to use Aussie red gold, Daniel Smith.
Yes.
This is a picture of my old veranda in Mudgee, where I used to sit with a glass of wine and gosh, I can't seem to get the painting right. But anyway, my husband and sons built this arbor for me, and it looked out across our garden and beyond to our vineyard. So that was a special one for me to do, because I no longer live there. I'm at the beach now. So this is a painting I did again on location in Lake Como last year. I try to go to Lake Como whenever I'm teaching in Italy. It's kind of like my happy place. And I love those old wooden boats that are there buzzing around on the lake. This is a nocturne that I did oftentimes when I go to, gosh, sorry. I'll just cover up my face. You can hear me. That's more important that you see the painting, not me. These are a night blooming flower, which are absolutely incredible. I don't know the name of them, but they hang upside down like this. And when I'm walking home from the place where I sometimes have dinner a couple blocks away, and they are so fragrant and beautiful. I love them to bits. But it's really funny because I noticed when I was looking for this painting that I've actually signed it upside down. I've signed it somewhere up here, I think somewhere. Anyway, I think it's, oh no, it's over here. Yeah. I think it's funny. But anyway, it's meant to hang upside down. So yeah, and that's actually a really good example of how using lunar black with phthalo turquoise can make some stunning variations in tone, and also the granulation of the lunar black, the way that it separates is just absolutely gorgeous. I love using lunar black. I find some excuse to use it in most of my paintings these days. So this is a painting of the coastline here where I live within it's just one of the many beaches, but within 10 minutes, I can get to 7 different beaches here. So I'm pretty lucky in that way because I do love the beach. Salt water is very healing and beautiful. This I painted on location in Catalina in California. And again, just a really nice sun-struck day. And that light was just shimmering on the water. So I wanted to try and capture that. This is the road out to my old property where I used to live. And so I used to drive on this road a lot. So there were lots of things to love about this area, but, you know, I'm trying to keep it still. There we go. Yeah, just, it was a simple landscape, but also very powerful, I think. Sometimes simple is best. This is a little floral that I did as a demonstration. I had a lot of iris in my garden, different colors, and yeah, they're just really fun to paint. And there's the tipping method. Maybe I'll show you that too if we have time. Here's another
Wow.
watercolor. I just really wanted to capture the reflective light that was happening on the table that these peaches were sitting on. I just felt like it had to happen really fast when I made the reflections the same time as I made the peaches, so that it was all in harmony with each other. And I think that's really important. Don't always save your shadows till the end, because you may not have the exact same color on your palette or whatever. And this is a quick little fast, fresh demo that I did in Carmel, where there's that Spanish style and lots of California poppies. So that was a fun one. And I just actually have 2 spaces left in my Carmel, California workshop in May, if anyone's interested. I've got one in Sonoma, one in May in California this year. So this little guy, honestly, he comes to visit me all the time outside my back door, and especially when my grandkids are here, which it's ironic, but it's beautiful. It's just serendipitous when he comes, and he'll come and sit on the chair or in the tree or whatever and just watch whatever they're doing, because we're usually outside on the deck coloring in or doing some craft or whatever. This was a painting that I did not too long after my husband passed away 5 years ago, and it just sort of captured the mood that I was in. It was very reflective and contemplative, and I was just trying to express myself through paint, to process a lot of the emotion and grief that I was feeling at the time. So that one's special for me. I won't ever sell that one. And again, this is the view looking out of the wisteria at my old garden and onto the vineyard below. This is since I've moved to the beach, I've got a lot more subjects to paint that I don't normally do. So this is interesting. There's a boat, a shipwright just down the few blocks from here where I live. So that's interesting to always watch what they're doing. And here's another nocturne that I did of Avalon Beach, which is about 10 minutes away from me here. I don't know if you can see it, but I was trying to capture, I go to a yoga class in the evenings at the surf club. And when we go into yoga, it's light, but when we come out, it's dark. And the moon was just so big and bright. It was just monstrous, and it lit up the whole everything, the sand, the water, and then oh, here's another floral where I'm using the techniques that I'm going to show you today, lifting off and creating stencils of your own and this sort of thing. So that one's a good one to show you. Another little floral, not so much of the lifting off. This is just more direct painting, but using, tonal value, color, and don't know what else to say about that one. It's a floral. Here's
Georgia.
another one that was,
Georgia,
yes.
would you be willing to spend a moment talking about the color choices you made for that one? There's such beautiful harmony. And I wonder if you could speak to the process of choosing the colors for that one. Thank you.
Okay, sure. I think it was Marc Chagall that said colors that are opposite on the color wheel are, no, how does it, oh, I'm totally butchering it. Anyway, the gist of it is that the ones that are opposites are lovers, and the ones that are their neighbors are friends. So in this one, I didn't go so much for opposites. There is a bit of the green and the red, variations of green and red happening there, but also the purple and the yellow, which are opposites on the color wheel. But I tried to go more with the analogous colors. So the pinks, the blues and the purples, because I feel like they're friends of each other. And I feel like they just seem to have a lot of harmony. And I don't know, I just love these colors together. They're just, I don't know what else to say about it, but the pinks and the blues and the purples I'm always drawn to those colors and flowers. So I'm actually going to be using a similar color palette today. So I can talk to that more when we get going on the demo. But
Thank you.
This was, it's a pleasure. So this is another one that I did. I don't know if you can see it, but this was on the Caribbean cruise that I was teaching on for Cunard on the Queen Mary in the Caribbean. And I was just struck by how deep and rich the blues were here and how white the contrast of the sand was. And I just tried to, you know, capture that in this piece. So hopefully I did. It's
Georgia,
Yes.
we're coming up on just a little bit over 30 minutes
oh
left.
wow.
Yeah. so,
Okay. All right.
and
I'll just
really quick, Stella wanted to say hi. So Stella Canfield, your friend, she said,
Stella.
thank you so much for tuning in with us. So in the middle, she knows what time it is where you're at. So she sends her love and
That's awesome. It's nice to see you, Stella. Well, I can't see you, but it's nice to hear from you. Thank you for your support. Okay, so I'll just quickly run through a few of these. This was featured in Nita Leland's book, Color, on her 30th anniversary of that amazing book. And I'll just show you a couple of scenes from when I was teaching in Broome. And that's in Western Australia. And this is an aerial perspective of the lay of the land in that area as well, which was, it ended up, you know, feeling like an abstraction, but it was actual real life. And then the last one, I just had to show you this one because I painted this from the fish markets in Seattle.
I see the ice.
So, yeah, so I don't know if you can see it, but these guys, I used the Iridescence by Daniel Smith, and I used the watercolor ground to get the texture for the ice. So that was really fun to play around with that. And anyway, so enough about all that. Let's get on with the business of painting. So today I've got a floral for us. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Now,
a quick note, everybody, this is the format that she will be painting in. So we're not going to turn the camera.
yeah, sorry about that. I have a limited range here with this particular setup, but I'll do my best.
Georgia, are you able to take questions while you paint, or would you like everyone to wait until you're done at the end?
I'm very happy to answer any and all questions. But I think there will be a section where it's a little bit quiet because I'll be doing lifting, where it would be easier for me to answer questions because while it's wet, I'm going to need to go pretty fast and keep it active. Hey, Barb, I see you, or I saw your name. That's my buddy Barb Tapp. If any of you don't know Barbara, she's a wonderful watercolorist and fellow Aussie that lives in California. She came to California about the same time I came to Australia, and somehow we managed to hook up and we're great friends. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, so if you can see that my subject here, oh, you can't really see it. I need to put it down. Okay, so this is some hydrangeas, and I used to grow hydrangeas in my garden. They haven't really survived very well here at the beach, but I miss them a lot. So I'm going to do this subject, and I may have to stand if you don't mind. This part is quite messy. So what I'll do is I'm gonna work on this, and then normally what happens with this subject that I'm painting in this manner is that it needs to dry completely, bone dry, and we obviously aren't going to be able to have that happen. So I've made I've actually made two more paintings at different stages of development so that I can swap this one out after I get this on and show you what I'm doing. Then I can get straight on to the next one. So let's get going. I don't know if you can see my drawing, but I've just made a little drawing of 2 vases and their shadows, and that's it. And the rest of it's all going to be free form intuitive painting. And I'm going to try and just mix up now some of the colors. And by the way, there's 2 heads in this arrangement, but I've sort of taken artistic license and I've made 3 heads. So 3 heads are better than 1, I think, when it comes to hydrangeas. So I'm just mixing up my lighter color now. And I've added a little bit of the red version of hydrangeas, which I also grew in my garden. So I'm going to just start putting those on now. And I'll just move these out from underneath here so they don't get splashed.
Georgie,
Yes.
before you go any further, can you tell us a bit about your paper, your setup, and what you prefer to use?
Oh yeah, of course. Good idea, actually. Thank you for that. So, all right. Let me show you my palette. This is the Georgia Mansur palette. Can you see that? Or is it upside down?
That's fine.
So basically, these are all the colors that I use, and I like to arrange them in the color wheel, and I keep the same colors in the same positions all the time so that it becomes sort of like a keyboard, pretty much automatic. I don't have to think about the name of the color. I just know warms are on one side, cools are on the other, and the complementaries are opposite each other. So that makes it really, really easy to make color choices quick and fast. And so these are my 16 colors of the Georgia Mansur palette that Daniel Smith asked me to create. And I've just put them in this circular, it's called a lockbox. I know somebody will want to know the name of it. It's a lockbox palette that you can get online from Amazon. So that's that. And then
May I ask a question, Georgia?
Yeah.
Is the base of that palette a split primary layout for the color layout?
No, it's not. Do you mean the middle circle, or what do you, I'm not sure what your
A
question
warm
is.
red, a cool red, a warm blue, a cool blue, warm yellow, cool yellow, and then working off of that.
Yes, so basically all of the colors that I use in the warms are on this side, and all of the cools and darks are on this side. I haven't intentionally added, I mean, I do have a warm and a cool of each primary. Like say with my yellow, I've got a cool and a warm yellow there. But I've also, I guess it works out that way. If I look at it now, yeah, it probably is a split complementary, but I didn't intend it that way. It's just the way that nature does it. So how clever is Mother Nature?
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get on to, did that help? Oh, also I have my own set of brushes by Rosemary & Co. And this is from my set. This is my watercolor. Pardon me?
Congratulations. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Hello,
There's
Cogley, near where I am.
Yeah, that's right. They're all handmade in the UK by Rosemary and Simi and their team. And they're just fabulous brushes. And this is my signature brush. It's a Kolinsky Sable number 10 Georgia Mansur brush. So it holds a lot of pigment, but it also comes down to a really fine point. So that's one of my favorites. But for this particular exercise, I'm going to be using just a 1-inch hake or hockey, however you pronounce it from wherever you're from. But I'm just going to get stuck into it. Otherwise I'll run out of time. So I'm going to start with this flower over here. And I'm just going to be adding a bit of my lighter color first. And I see the light as coming in from this direction because my shadows will be cast down here. So I'll need to keep that in mind as I work. And I'm just going to put in lots of juicy color. And now some of you are going to get nervous the way I paint because I'm a bit wild, but and this technique particularly is a bit wild, but don't stress, okay? Nobody's going to die. And I'm just going to help you get a little bit loose with your painting. And I'm going to merge some of these colors together. And what I'm trying to do here, in case you didn't know, is I'm just trying to block in some of the, oops, that was blue. I wanted purple. Here we go. Now,
Georgia, Georgia, I have a question.
yes, yep.
The
Go for it.
consistency of your paint, is that like cream or coffee?
Yeah,
milk?
so I'm painting wet onto dry at this stage. So I'm trying to make it, I want it to stick. So I'm
Okay.
trying to make it a little bit creamy.
Okay.
And let's see, I just need to get a little bit of this blue in there. I want it to be quite dark because the technique that I'm using is going to be, let's see, it's hard to talk and paint at the same time, but I want this to be really rich and juicy. And what's going to happen is I'm going to try and connect these a little bit so that they look like they're all from the same family, if you will. And then I'm going to go back into it, and it's going to mix and mingle with the background, and that's okay. But like, it depends on how wet your paper is and when you touch the edges with the background, because the danger is always that if you start painting your background at the same time as you're painting your foreground, which is the flowers, there's a danger that they're going to bleed and you're going to get just a muddy mess. But I'll try and control that a little bit with the timing and as much as I can. I can't control everything in this short period of time, but basically the colors that I'm using here, just so you know, are Indanthrone blue and Carbazole violet, rose madder permanent, and I used a little bit of wisteria and a little bit of lavender. So I'm kind of thinking that this flower head is going to be more in the blues, this one will be more in the pinks, and this one will be kind of a combo of both. But while I've got that there, I need to make sure that there's enough paint on there to make it make sense. So while I'm doing this, I'll just keep adding a little bit more pigment into the mix so that we get it really rich and juicy. Because the reason that you need to have, so much pigment on there is because the technique that I'm using is going to you're going to be lifting back. You're going to be lifting off. So you're going to be lifting off to what's underneath. So now I'm going to put in a little bit of the greens. And the reason that I'm saying that is that, I want some of this to mix and mingle in here so that it feels that there's some kind of foliage in there. And that might be a good place to add a little bit of lunar black into my green.
Oh my goodness, how exciting.
Yeah.
Barbara is on,
Yeah.
and she says she's sending love. She says, loving the intense colors, and wants to know what paper you're using. Also, if your paper is sloping away from you. And she says, hi, Georgia.
Hey, Barb. So the answer, I normally paint on a 30 to 45 degree angle. And she knows that because we paint together plein air outdoors. But when I'm painting flowers and really wet and juicy like this, you can't. It would just be a glubbery mess. So I don't want to put too much green in there because it might pollute my other colors. So I don't know if you can see it, but I always have two rinsing bowls, one first wash and one second rinse, because when I'm doing this technique, especially, the colors get super muddy and I need clean water for getting up into, these areas. And let me just get a little bit more of the blues happening there.
Love it, Georgia. I always tell my students it takes courage to paint.
Oh, if you have courage, none of the other virtues are able to come to the fore, because you won't ever, take a risk. So
Just
I
like
think,
in life, isn't it?
yeah. And, I moved to Australia when I was 22 from California, and people were like, why? It's like, why not? I just, I love a bit of adventure. Now, if you can see in here, my little greens have gone up to the middle of my hydrangea, and that's not ideal. So what I'm going to do, if you can see, I'm taking my my paper towel and sort of drying out my brush. And then I'm not going to brush it because that will create mud. I'm just going to roll it and pick up a little bit of that pigment and then do the same thing. And then I might need to I don't mind a little bit of it in there because that adds a little bit of mystery. But as you can see, just doing that creates the variety of tone as well. I don't mind if that's over there a little bit puddled, because that's pure color and I want to work with that later. So I'm not too fussed about that. So now we've got the main players on the stage, and we need to get some more water, because this part is the yellow part and it needs to be kind of clean and fresh water. So I'm going to swap out my water container for now to another one that has 3 more clean wells in it, and that will let me go further than where I've been before. So sorry about this, but it's important because we're going to go on to yellow. And yellow and purple, if I have purple water rinsing and I'm trying to paint clean yellow, that doesn't work. It'll cancel each other out. Okay.
There's wonderful comments. Diane says, colors, I feel like I could smell the flowers. Anna says,
that's
love
good.
the wild. Just
Wet and wild, yeah. So while it's wet, I can go back in and strengthen those colors as well. You notice how I'm, keep going back into the same area. And I'm actually just kind of dropping it in. I'm not rubbing it because this pigment is sitting on top of the dimples of the paper. And as soon as I start, stroking it, well, that means that, I'm going to create some mud. So I don't want to do that, but I'm just moving it around a little bit. You can do this while it's still wet and active, but yeah, you just kind of have to keep your eye on it and make sure that it's all doing what it's supposed to be doing. So now clean brush, and I'm going to get some lemon yellow. And I'll start, I think, over in this corner with the lemon, just pure lemon. And I'm going to paint sort of right up to this for now, and then I'll kind of Velcro those colors in a second. But sort of want them to, you know, I want them to stand on their own 2 feet right now. And then I'll go in and connect them up and let them bleed together. Now I've added a little bit of the cad yellow in with it, and just want to kind of create some energy here. And as you can see, that yellow right against the purple makes a really wonderful color pop. And I don't want like a strong line there, so I'll have to keep it moving. But if it does meld with the purple or the green, I'm okay with that, because I can go back in and later and lift off. So there we go. I've let that one run, and you can just see if you get a thing that's happening like that, like a runner, again, do your thirsty brush technique that I just showed you by drying it and then just rolling it back. And that will create a little bit of space for the paint to go somewhere else other than, you know, up into the top of the painting. Okay, so now I've got to keep coming with that warm yellow down the page. So as we get closer, you know, the colors are going to become warmer. Cool colors advance, warm colors recede, and this is the direction of light. So I want to make sure that there's plenty of light that peeks through the cracks there. And I'm also going to add a little bit of my liquid sunshine, which is quinacridone gold, in case you didn't know. So yeah, we're getting a lot of energy with these beautiful colors. And you know, because I'm using the complementaries, you're going to have lots of color harmony. And I just want to make sure that all of this is happening the way that I want to. I'm going to add in maybe a little bit of the Aussie red gold, just because, you know, I want to be patriotic, but I'll just sort of, you know, make sure that it's warmer here in
Look at
this.
Look at what an effect it has on it. We're coming up to about 15 minutes, Georgia, just so you are aware. I know you said you had a couple others or stages of the painting you wanted to share.
Yeah. Okay, so this is wet and juicy, and we're gonna let that do its thing. It needs to dry overnight. So I'm going to now move this out of the way. Try not to spill it. Yeah. And so now we're coming on to, you know, kind of like a cooking show. I prepared this earlier for you. So this is a similar painting, and this is what it looks like when it dries, and it kind of fades off some of the juicy color. So what I do in this situation is I will then go on to another stage when it's dry and I can see what's happening and everything. Then I will maybe go in and intensify some of the darker areas. And if you can see that here, that's exactly what I have done. So these are both fully dry, so I can work on both of those if I would like, because I did them yesterday. But what I need to do now is I could put in the vase shapes, or I could lift off the vase shapes and put in their shadows. So I think I want to I think I'd like to get a flat brush, and let me get one of my flats here out of my set. By the way, I've just changed over all my brush sets. I have a deluxe set for water, for acrylic and oils, and then I have a watercolor set with Rosemary and Co. So It may not be up on their website yet, but I'm going to be teaching at the Plein Air Convention in the Smoky Mountains in May in the US. So I'm pretty sure that they'll be available there at that time. So look out for it. Okay, so I can choose in the photograph, the vase is blue. It doesn't have to be blue, but I don't mind that blue. And I actually think that it might be a nice follow through with the blue, because we've got so much blue in the painting, and it will sort of, again, add more color harmony. So I might just go into my cobalt blue and mix up a little bit of that. And then make sure that I've got plenty on there, so I don't have to, keep going back and mixing more. And then I would like to add a bit of the lavender, because the vase on the right is actually ceramic and it's solid, so it'll be opaque. So I'm going to add in some of the lavender, because if you look on my palette, and you look on the back that has the key for all of the paints and their properties, that the lavender is semi-opaque. So I use the lavender and the wisteria oftentimes when I want to get real coverage. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to let this, and I've got the flat brush because I want to drive in and around these. So let's get that quite thick on there. And then keep it going, keep adding pigment if you can. And then while I've got this color on my brush, I need to add in a little bit of that green of the leaves, because that's a bit dark under there. So add in green gold and lunar black. Lunar black and a bit of the blue into it, so that we have a little bit of color run. And I could actually tip the paper, but I don't want to do that right now because I'm gonna get too messy. I'll just let that happen, and then I want this shadow. I need this shadow to keep running that way, but it needs to be darker. So there's a little triangle just there and there that is going to be darker. So now I'm going to add a little bit of the purple in it, and a little bit of the blue.
I
I'm
love
just
how
going-
you paint your shadows. That's wonderful.
Well, we want to get the shadow action happening at the same time as the actual thing, so that, it doesn't look weird, like, paint it like you meant it.
Yeah.
And I can go back into this later and sort of direct that flow, but as long as I can see what's happening there, and then I'll be able to lift that area too, so you can see where it starts and stops. Okay, so that's just, you've got a little bit of that happening. I'll put a little bit of this in there too, because we want to keep all the colors in harmony. So I'm just adding a little bit of that blue in there, that purpley blue in there as well, that's underneath this leaf, that casts a drop shadow. Okay, so now this will be interesting. The next part that I need to do is stay there painting. So the next part is actually something that I came up with when I had a lot of old x-rays because I've got 3 sons. So I started playing around with the x-rays, and you can do lots of shapes and make some really interesting things.
That's
Um,
cute.
I don't think he's wanting to be in this painting, but
I don't know. He was cute.
you al-
No,
you
right.
always have that option of things, so you can use the positive shape or the negative shape, but
Okay.
we're not using those today. But if you are using the positive shape and you lay it down, then you just get your toothbrush and you splatter over the positive shape, and then when you lift it off, you have a ghost of a frog, if you
Oh,
will, or even a gecko or something. It's kind of fun if you're doing lots of layers and depth and stuff. And obviously I love doing that with my grandkids, and I think it's so fun. All right, so I have cut out a few little shapes of things that I might like to try lifting. Let me just see here. That one for sure. I mean, I'm not going to cut out right now because that takes time. So I'm just going to go with whatever shapes I already have here, and hopefully they'll be the right shapes for this particular floral. I think I can work with this. Where's the one? Okay, yeah, that'll work. All right. So I'm just going to put these over to the side for now. And I'm going to grab, ideally, this would be totally dry so that I'm not going to be moving with my shapes over this part of the painting. So what I need to do now is I get a sea sponge, right? And I get some, let me move this out of the way because I'm not cutting, but you get the idea, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if you can see this painting, you'll see what I'm talking about, what I'm going to be doing a little bit of lifting. I'm not sure what happened there, but keeps asking me to join the audio, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so what I want to do now is just dip my sponge into my water and then get a paper towel. This is the important part for this technique, is to get paper towel and then make sure your hands are clean. I just dipped my hand in yellow paint moving that thing. So I want to make sure that my hands are clean and that my sponge is moist, but not soppy wet. It's just kind of damp. If you can imagine, it's hard to imagine if you can't touch it, but the idea here, and now's probably the best time once I get going on this to ask your questions, because what I'm going to do is you need to have a paper towel in one hand, your sponge in the other, and then you're going to start lifting. So I see a shape right there, and I'm just going to lift off an edge of it, not the whole shape, just the edge. And then I blot it dry, and voila, you have a little bit of light showing up there. Okay. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like when you cross a boundary with an edge. So there's some in the background, there's some in the foreground, and I'm just going to soften that line, that hard edge there.
Nice.
And then, sorry.
That's beautiful. I love that you use stencil lifting technique in your paintings. We're down to about 5 minutes, and I really wanted to share in the links in the chat your workshops, as well
Okay.
as a blog post that Georgia has sharing what to pack to come to these artistic retreats with her that she holds all over the world. So Ethel, if you could drop those links in the chat.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to show you so much more. I've got so much more to share with you, but obviously we're limited by time. But I hope that it in this short period of time that you are able to see some of the techniques that I use and gives you a little bit of encouragement and helps you to take some risks, you know. When my son started driving and going to parties and all that, I was terrified of, you know, what could happen and everything. And so, you know, I'd speak to him the next day and I'd say, you know, how was it? Was everything okay? And was there much trouble? Da, 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 you know, and he'd be like, Mom, all you need to know is nobody died. So that's my motto for watercolor. Nobody's gonna die. Okay. Can you see how I'm lifting this now that you can move your shapes around and you know, put them on backwards, forwards, upside down, right side up, whatever, to get some of those really cool sunstruck areas of light. Can you see that? The key in this technique is to have your paper towel and blot it dry straight away. And then, can you see it?
Yes,
Is everybody getting the idea of this?
yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
do you ever use one of those magic sponges or whatever they call them?
Oh yeah, the magic eraser for bathroom cleaning.
Yeah.
I have done. Yeah, I have done. They're incredible.
You find that they're
find that-
good to use
Pardon me?
as a blotting towel
Well,
that you're using now?
this is just a kitchen paper towel, you know, just regular paper towel. It's nothing special or fancy about it. You just get it from your grocery store. But what you're talking about, those little sponge eraser things. But see, let me just interrupt myself. See how the color that's underneath it starts to glow through. It doesn't go back to white. It goes back to the other colors that I had mixed in to the mix. And that's what I want. I really want that to happen. So sorry. I just wanted to show that you can see how just layering this, and now this part of it is so fun for me. I obviously after you guys leave me, I'll sit here and work on this as a bit of a meditation, and it's just so relaxing. This part is really lovely, and I hope that you'll all give this a go, and I hope that you'll all be brave, and I hope that you've got something today from this lesson. And also, if you want to email me, my email is georgia@georgiamansur.com. And if you have specific questions, I'm very happy to answer for anybody who's been here with us today. And I also want to thank Daniel Smith. I want to thank Buffy and all the other brand ambassadors that are here with us as well. I've been doing this for Daniel Smith for many years. I was one of the first few ambassadors internationally. So I feel very honored that I was using their paint anyway, and I absolutely loved it. And then they invited me to be an international ambassador. So I don't have any problem sharing it because I was using it anyway as my absolutely preferred paint, and I'm happy to be associated with my Daniel Smith family. So thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you,
And
Georgia. Thank you, Buffy.
Thank you.
Georgia?
it's not even light yet outside, you guys. It's still really early.
Thank you
We have
even
a
more.
request, if you, I know it's still probably wet, but we have a request if you could hold the painting up from your front view, or will it land all on your apron?
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
But you will
Because
post
there's
it,
like,
we could post it on the Daniel Smith Facebook page after, once you're finished, you can send it to us and we can share it that way if you'd like.
yeah, that's a better idea because that would ruin the painting if I did that now. It would just look like a run.
Thank you for teaching us about runners, dimples, and that no
Yes.
one is gonna die. I really.
Right.
Well, if it's not fun, why are we doing it? You know, it
Right.
needs to be fun and it needs to be approachable and not scary. There's nothing to be afraid of, really. You just have to go for it. And a lot of watercolorists are drawn to watercolor because it looks like it's easier than other medium. Just let me give you the tip. It's not. It's
No,
the
it's
most
not.
technical medium. So that knowing the wetness to dryness of your paper, your brush, and your paint, those three, you got three moving targets that you need to manage all at the same time and get it right. So I don't want to scare anybody, but it does take a few years to get all those things working right at the same time. So keep going with your brush mileage, keep having fun, keep experimenting and exploring. And yeah, I hope to see you at one of my workshops somewhere around the world.
You know what, we
Thank
just
you.
wanna
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for coming. Thank you for everybody for tuning in today. Be sure to follow
Thank you.
her Georgie Girl Instagram. Is that how you say it? Go Georgie Girl?
Yeah,
That's it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you too, Buffy.
Everybody, thank you, Georgia.
all the
Thank you.
best, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Have a
Thanksgiving.
wonderful
Bye.
weekend,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.